Hello, young lovers, wherever you are. How are you? Oh, that's right, Bob. We were talking about that. Not while I'm around. Demons will harm you with their smile now and then. I'll send 'em howling. I can't remember the words. Good evening, everyone. Hi, How are you? How are you? I hope you had a nice Sunday. I went out today. It was a beautiful day, actually. It was a beautiful day. I hope that everyone had a beautiful day. And tomorrow's Monday. And here comes a helicopter looking for someone. He's got his spotlight out. Spotlight dance. Everyone get their dancing shoes on. Whenever we heard police cars, my mother would say, "Don't give your right name." I always remember that. So now I always say that if I say, "Don't give your right name." Um, but good afternoon, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I don't know what kind of mood I'm in. I guess it's just a little goofy and irreverent. I feel like this day went very quickly and uh yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I experienced a lot today, but I feel like I didn't really experience the whole day. I don't know. That sounds really stupid. But that's what I do. That's what we do. We sound stupid. Anyway, and thank you to the folks who joined us for the movie last night. Movies, I should say. I'm sorry that I didn't stay longer. I was really tired. I went to bed right after that. I was gonna even catch up with Gal and the Gal Squad, but I fell right to sleep. Right to sleep. So it was quite nice. It was quite nice. Yeah. Yeah. Wait in the water. Okay, hold on. Wade in the water. Ooh. As I went down to the river to pray, worrying about that good old way, and who shall wear the thorny crown? Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh, mother, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, mother, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who will wear rose and thorns, oh Lord, show me the way. Oh, brother, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brother, let's go down, down to the river to pray. I really love that song. Oops, I chased away some people with my scratchy singing. All right. My goodness. Little weed. Oh, I lost another. Oh, they're dropping like flies. But who will wear the rose and crown, oh Lord? Show me. Bless you, Bobo. Show me the way. All right, let's get started, shall we? First, I've got to find us a bit of a little fire. A bit of little fire. Little fireside. Oh, 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 streamer life, streamers. We're so what a funny bunch the streamers are in the world. Are they not the most funny bunch? Are they now? It's really funny to me. I don't know. It's been really funny watching like people who are uh streamers, whatever, doing their thing and like finding their whatever they want to do with their stream or what do they use their stream for, that kind of thing. I find it really, especially now, like 2 years into this particular group of morons. Oh, this is a little loud, but turn it down a little bit. Okay. But I was just thinking, it's just like creating is a very interesting conundrum, and I don't even think I work as hard as I should about what I'm putting out. I do it very much on the fly. per you're so funny. Can I just tell you that it may be a future category in the DSM? What's DSM? What's that mean? Streamer syndrome. Yeah, it's just really it's actually good to watch other streamers to kind of like just, and it's not, I'm not talking about comparing or going, oh, I'm better, that kind of thing. I'm not talking about that. People create what they want to create and all that shit. But it's curious to me how people use their channels. And it's interesting. That's all. Diagnostic and Statistician Manual of Mental Disorders. Boy, I don't. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, now that's all making very much sense. Yeah. I don't know. It's just there's a lot. There's a lot, and it's not a nighttime conversation. It's something we should have during the daytime. And we should go down to, though maybe something better than praising mental disorders. Yeah, well, but I mean, and mental disorder is not, oh, hi. That's okay. I am.
Yeah, is it 9?
It's 9.
Oh dear.
It's 9:10.
Oh dear.
That's okay.
I gotta go. I, I gotta be somewhere. Oh,
Stop. I'm doing something. I'm doing something here. All right. Stop it. I'm trying to keep people like calm. You're not supposed to be funny. Um, Somebody now has a job that is East Coast hours, but we live on the West Coast. And so somebody has to get up very early in the morning.
I gotta go.
Get out of here.
Shower. Oh my god. Say hi to everybody for me.
Okay, I will. Bobo says hello, everyone. Dear Lord. Road work ahead. Oh my God. She's good. She's a good comedian. Um, yeah, disorder is the nice term. Disorder is the nice term. I mean, I don't know if you were saying that as a joke, but it just struck me as a joke, Max. Hey, Bobo, and everybody in the chat. Yeah, I think it's the way people are communicating with each other in many respects, right? So it's not just, you come in and you have a formal like offering of content. Um, a lot of people are just like, I just want to show up and I need to process what I'm going through. There was that whole Daniel Goleman, like emotional intelligence. And I remember we read about it when I worked at the grieving center because a lot of the tenets of the program were based on like storytelling helps us normalize grief and trauma and the trauma that comes from it. So when you tell your story and you're allowed to kind of have that space, that can kind of unlock a process um, where you can start to, it becomes a part of, your grief doesn't go away is that whole concept, but it becomes part of who you are, and it's normal. And normalize is not the right word, but Daniel Goleman talks about telling your story over and over again, and that's one way to heal or develop good emotional intelligence. I don't know. I'm probably not saying that right, but I was always struck by that concept that a lot of us. Oh no, I mean I think that humans very much need to communicate regardless, and to some degree YouTube and other kind of like get online and click a button gives you that opportunity, but in ways we've never had it before. And so, all of us are creators, and some of us probably just put more energy some into our creation than others. And then there's times when I just show up. I don't put a lot of energy. I think there's so much more I could do and I want to do, and it's really it feels overwhelming actually. So there's a little bit of inertia from the overwhelm, but in uglies, everyone has their own 20. Oh, I have a feeling that's kind of where we're getting to. Hi, Peace Love. How are you? Welcome in. Um, yeah, so I mean, I'm actually, it may sound like I'm judging, but I'm not really judging. I'm actually appreciating that this is like a really human thing to do. Do I wish that some people would be a little less disgusting when they do it? Yeah, it'd be easier to watch. But another part of us loves the disgusting, right? So there's, like I was listening to one of the Chud channel owners the other night, or maybe it was a daytime. It probably was a daytime. And she was saying that she wanted to, that her channel was going to be drama free and all this kind of stuff. And as an outsider, oh, good. Oh, peace, love. I hope I recommend this book, actually. I think it's a really good book. Um, I can't remember what I was going to say, but it probably wasn't very important. But oh, that she wanted her channel to be drama free, and literally this person's entire existence in this parasocial paradigm is drama. Like she creates it, she responds to it, and it's just never. I've never seen this person offer anything other than drama. Oh, good. Peace, love. We need to find a way to have more of a discussion about this book. Maybe that's what is kind of the next phase of this book, is to actually have a couple of hours of conversation about it and just have everyone weigh in who wants to. I would do a panel for that. That would be nice. That would be nice. So yeah, great book to follow along. So yeah, I mean, it's just an observation. I mean, that's my whole interest in this. My whole interest in like right wing extremism and all that and media is what is, how do people respond to messages and how do you, what's in that message? That's what I listen for. I listen for where's the factual pieces that I can have. And I know this is stupid and the water has flown under the bridge, flowed under the bridge. Yeah, I know. Well, and I was too, to be honest with you, Max. I was in it to kind of like, well, first of all, no, I was in it to monitor like this convoy, right? I wanted to see if this was a movement that was gonna, kind of whatever. So yeah, I mean the other, but what I'm saying is that to a degree, all of us have been kind of pushed into the or there's more viewers for dramatic channels. Can we just say that? I know I'm boring as fuck, but the fact of the matter is I never really get past 700 subscribers and I never really have more than like 30 people in my live streams. I'm not mad about it. I mean, obviously I want my stuff to get out there as far as possible. I'm not like, pouting or whatever, but I do I mean, that's the my observation is that in this particular ecosystem, good night. Good night, Bobo. Everyone said good night. Um, my observation is that those things get much more kind of reaction, which is fine. I don't think it's a long term thing. We've all seen channels come and go, and that will continue to be the norm. And maybe this channel will go. I don't know. But this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I feel like I'm half-assed, like beyond half-assed. But I also believe that it'll just kind of grow over time. So anyway, so unfortunately, I think I have more than enough drama on this channel. I don't think I need any more in my life. I like boring. I love my boring little life. Anyway, so let's get into it. Now we've got some nice, good numbers in here. We've got 14 people. Hopefully, a few more on Twitter. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, easily, is that I'm trying to just. I actually have something I want to get better at what I do, which is analysis of politics and encapsulating like messages of politics of how do you explain the Council for National Policy, right? I'd like to do it in a way that everybody can access that and understand where does Council for National Policy fit into the bigger scheme of what we're experiencing right now today. I'd like to interview people who are really interesting, right? Like I would love to become a better interviewer. I want to do a book club. I think it would be great to do a book club. Um, I love doing the storytelling, the ghost stories. I love that shit. I obviously love singing so much, and I want to sing more. I do want to do more IRL stuff. I just choose to do things when it makes real sense for me to do it. So, what's really funny is I started watching. I've been following Streets LA and Film the Police LA for a long time. And I actually, when Streets LA was out there like a month ago and just alone, I think there was one other guy with him or on the street. It was very low attended. I was like, you know what? I should reach out to him and say, hey, if you want the dinosaur to show up, you just let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I never did. And then all of a sudden it got really, really popular to go there. I guess it blew up on TikTok. My daughter said that the Scientology, because the guy from Growing Up Scientology, blah blah blah. Anyway, so it's just funny, and I'm feeling really grateful that I didn't. But I didn't go down. But I am gonna follow. I'm gonna follow up with Film with Police LA too because I know that guy a little bit better, and I'm gonna see if he needs anything because I feel like there's some stuff we could be doing. Why now? Oh, it's because the guy from Growing Up Scientology, I guess, did some stuff outside the Clearwater one. I think that's where he was based, and then it started happening here, and then it got on TikTok. No, there's no new info. It got the kind of auditing thing got really popular, and apparently it was primarily on TikTok, which is why a lot of the kids that are there are TikTokers from like the Valley. There's only a couple people that are from Hollywood. Streets LA is from Hollywood. I don't know where Jessica's from, but anyway. So I just thought it was really interesting. I don't really know. I mean, I hope they get it shut down or get them to change their tax status. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah. Anyway, it's a lot of clout chasing on a lot of people's parts, not just DOA, but a lot of people are like, yes, and Bravo Media and AXN, and there's OCLA, and there's a few stringers that I watch um, that are good. I don't know. And we got to take more drives. I am going to take more drives. And yeah, no, we're going to do some things. I got some green screen stuff. I got some shit to do. Yeah, anyway, thanks. Oh, peace, love, thanks. Chamber music. Playing Scarlatti on my harpsichord, my clavichord. Is a clavichord a thing? I just want to know. Thanks, peace. I feel like I learn a lot from everybody. Yeah, we just talked about that Scientology. I know, it's so random. No, it actually is random, Max, because very few of the people there who are filming know actually what's going on, and to yell "Where is Shelley?" I find is peak disrespectful, because she's probably dead, and it's not. I just don't understand if you don't. I don't know. It's cringy to me that you would yell "Where's Shelley?" When you don't know what the fuck you're even talking about. But that's just me. Pre-piano. Yeah. Oh, okay, clavichord. Good, because I think that's the joke. And like there aren't no, well, I don't know. I think it's well there must have been it's cloud chasing. I mean, can we just say that? Cloud chasing? Shelley Miscavige is David Miscavige's wife who went missing years ago, and people are pretty convinced that he had her killed. And so, yeah, she's a real person who is missing and probably got murdered on his ranch. But I guess no one who's standing out there, except for a few people, actually know what's going on. Yeah, so that's who Shelley is. You know what? Hey, man, crack on, McDuff. That's what I say. Oh, no worries, peace, love. No worries, my dear. I'll see you later. Yes, well, David is the head of Scientology. David Miscavige. I don't know how to say his name. Miscavige? I don't know. Anyway, he's a bad dude. He's the head of Scientology, has been for bazillions of years, and had a wife, and she disappeared. And I guess he's been kind of wanted in a few different like strange disappearances. And then there was like people found on his ranch that were dead. I mean, there's a lot. He's a lot. He's involved in or suspected to be a lot. Yeah, I know. Yes, I know that guy was arrested, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The TikTokers are not. They're whatever. They're like the paparazzi. And they're basically the thing about it is too is if you're yelling at the employees, those are the people that are being trafficked. Okay? Those are the people that are basically indentured servants too. So why are you yelling at them? And the security guards are private security. Those are just dorky kids that got a job for 17 bucks an hour because it was the best paying job they could get. I just like stop. Stop it. Whatever. Anyway, I want my city back because my doctor's office is on Hollywood Boulevard and I might have a doctor's appointment soon. So I would like anyone who doesn't live in Los Angeles to get the fuck out of here so I can have my city back because I live in Hollywood and I don't want to drive around and wait to see that motherfucking thing. Yes, cults are fascinating. Yeah, absolutely. Cults are totally fascinating. But there's Scientology everywhere in the country, at least Austin and Clearwater. I think you should go to Clearwater. Kidding. I really don't give a shit what he does. He's finding out the hard way that Hollywood is full of people with very tough, tough feet. Incomprehensible. Yeah, they are. Well, they are like legitimately goofy TikTokers. That's literally what they are. So that's what they do. They stand around and do stuff fun. Oh, I know. Streets. Yeah, he's really he's pretty funny. I was listening to another chud this morning, and she was like, "Oh, Streets. Oh, oh my God, he's so hot. He's so this. He's so that." So I'm thinking of going and asking him out on a date and streaming it just to piss her. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do it. He's younger than me anyway. All right, I gotta read you guys some stuff. What am I doing? Anyway, giggle, giggle, giggle. I know, you know, Max. You know what I'm talking. I was so tempted, Max. You got to be proud of me, Max. You got to be proud of me. I have been very good about not chitty chatting where I shouldn't be chitty chatting. So I need you to give me a lollipop, Max, because I know you know. I've been very good. And I will not, I'm sorry. I know this is not helpful to people going to sleep. I apologize. I'm sorry, but I am not subscribing to tell you to suck my dick. I am not going to give you a subscribe. I'm not taking the time to subscribe so that I can type in your chat to tell you to suck my dick and then have you ban me. I'm not doing it. So you just missed out on an opportunity to be trolled by Lolo because she ain't going to subscribe. So figure it out, kids. You want some of that brilliant trolling? You're going to have to make it a little bit easier. Actually, I really had to stop listening to Tommy Temper. I was listening to him today. I think it was today. Maybe it wasn't. I feel like it was really early this morning, and it could have been watching things from like yesterday that were just on my screen. Anyway, I what a fucking bigot. Yeah, who would? Yeah, well, a lot of people would. A lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. Have Scientology 4 blocks with a Muslim most religious. Holier than hell, boy, easily. You got all kind of religion. You got all kinds of religion. You got all kinds of religion. Dear, 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 dear. Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't. I was very good. It's very good. But my God, I'm going to tell you right now, and this never ceases to blow my mind. The people who don't know they're bigots, who are bigots, is mind-boggling. Like the whole, I was listening to an old thing today, and it was like, don't lump me in with all those people. And I'm like, dude, you literally are those people. The only reason we call you bigoted is because there's a word for it. All right? So it's not that's why we have words for things. So that we can call them that. So that it's easier than stringing a lot of words together. You just have one. And it's called bigot. And it encompasses a whole host of hatred. The difference between an Irish wake and an Irish wedding, one person. I know. I'm no, I know, and I'll be honest with you, Max. I had to turn it off after a couple minutes because I'm like I hit it at a moment when it was just like insanity, and I'm like, wow, you don't even hear yourself. You don't even hear that your perspective about someone else's lifestyle choice and their desire, like a normal human, to encompass and be and project everything that that might be or nothing that it might be or anything they fucking want, that because that makes you uncomfortable, that you don't think you're a bigot. Just make that make sense for me. Yeah. When you judge someone and say, oh yeah, you can be trans, but don't be trans in front of me, you are a bigot. Full stop. Full stop. So that's for the bigots who are listening, that's your lesson tonight. Your lesson with Lolo, how to be a better person. No. I mean, just try. Let's try. Okay? Just try. Yeah, they really promote the most ridiculous, unbelievable nonsense. And it's just, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. All right, my darlings, I got to read to you. I want to read to you. Read me a story, baby. Read me a story. Read me a story. Uh-oh, where'd I put my story? Where'd I put my story? Okay, we're gonna take it down now. Slow it down. There we go. All right. Okay, I would like you now. We're going to transition and move into hopefully a reclined position. And also, let's see, get back here. I want you to take everything in the stuff we just talked about. I want you to take that all and just take it in your hands. Like literally lift your hands and hold them in front of you, like palms up, close together, like you're going to hold like a grapefruit in two hands in front of you. And I want in your palms to go everything that has just been really fucked up and hard about today or this weekend or it's going to happen tomorrow or whatever it is that's fucking hanging on your shoulder or doing something, getting in the way. It's just getting in the way. I just want you to put it all in the palm of your hands and let it kind of almost like spin there, like a ball. And then I just want you to raise it and then just blow it out of your hands. Just blow. And that is like, I envision like that is all of the stuff that I'm carrying into like today and this moment. And I know that's ooey wooey, but I mean, it really does help me visualize like I'm right here. And all that other stuff still exists, but I can just move it away from it. So that's what I want to leave you with, that kind of bubble. So, without further ado, tonight I'll stay wise. I'm doing it. All right. Welcome, everyone. At any time, let me know if the sound is not working for you, and I'll do what I can. Tonight, we're going to read chapter 7, and we'll see if we can add in another chapter tonight of Prequel, The Rise of American Fascism. This is a book by Rachel Maddow of MSNBC, and it is about right now it's talking about the rise of the Nazi Party in the United States in the 30s, and provides some important historical context for a lot of the situations that we're dealing with now. So we're reading this to better understand what's happening today and to draw some comparisons to that. All right. We are on chapter 7 of Prequel by Rachel Maddow. Silver Shirts. The same week that Lawrence Dennis was melting into the Nazi masses at Nuremberg and Father Coughlin was crowing to his flock in Chicago from atop his Nazi-light architectural backdrop, a rookie newspaper reporter was busily trying to herd a hard-won story past skeptical editors and into the typesetting room of the Minneapolis Journal. Eric Sevareid would eventually go on to a long and celebrated career at CBS News and become one of the giants in 20th century American journalism. In September 1936, though he was a 23-year-old kid fresh out of the University of Minnesota looking for his first big front page headline. He went by his first name back then, so it was Arnold, not Eric Sevareid, who took the tip from some college friend. A strange political organization appeared to be on the rise in their city, a group calling itself the Silver Shirts. Philip Johnson's Gray Shirts in New York never seemed to get much beyond picking a uniform and designing banners. But these Silver Shirts guys in Minneapolis appeared to have numbers, and maybe even momentum. The group was secretive in the extreme, perhaps even a tad paranoid, but there might be a story there if Sevareid could somehow get inside. He decided to embark on his first undercover investigation, presenting himself to the Silver Shirts as a potential initiate. Sevareid, turned out, had little trouble winning the Silver Shirts' confidence. They happily invited him into their middle-class parlors, then pulled their lace curtains tight so they could safely read him into their world view and in on their plans. Sevareid appeared to be just the sort of person who would bring credit to their cause, a striking young college graduate, tall and sinewy, an outdoorsman who knew his way around a hunting rifle, with a face already weathered by the fierce winds of the northern plains. Sevareid had grown up in a small town in North Dakota. No roof to the sky, no border to the land, he said of his native home, where the economy rose and fell with a single crop. Wheat was the sole source and meaning of our lives, he would say. The rhythms of farming and the brutal yearly battles against nature, which could visit drought and dust, gully-washing downpours and terrifying cyclones, or ghastly infestations of grasshoppers that could wipe out months of labor in a matter of hours, dictated the daily life of the community and shaped its ethos. The Severide family neighbors depended on one another to produce and bring to market enough of the high-quality wheat, number one hard it was aptly named, to tide them over to the next planting season. The town was hard-working, interdependent, egalitarian, and small d democratic. Its politics ran conservative. Severide described his fellow townsfolk as exhibiting limitless charity towards friends and neighbors, and a thorough wariness of outsiders. When Severide entered the University of Minnesota in 1931 at age 18, he still took it on faith that President Herbert Hoover was a great man, that America was superior to all other countries in all possible ways, that labor strikes were caused by unkempt foreigners, that men saved their souls inside wooden or brick Protestant churches, that if men had no jobs, it was due to personal laziness and vice, meaning liquor, and that sanity governed the affairs of mankind. Close quote. Severide's worldview had somewhat broadened by the time he became a full-time staff reporter at the Minneapolis Journal, but he was still at ease with the conservative, older white Protestants who were filling up the roster of the local chapters of the Silver Shirts, and they were at ease with him, which meant a bunch of them were willing to confide in the young man, or at least willing to confide what they could, given that anonymity and need-to-know compartmentalization of information were standard practice at the Silver Shirts. The group was organized around councils of safety, each consisting of 9 members so that no one person could know the identity of more than 8 other Silver Shirts. Severide was unable to get specific names off the master list held by the Minnesota State Chairman, but he was able to get some ballpark numbers. The Silver Legion had just begun organizing in Minnesota a few months earlier, but there were already almost 500 enrollees in the 5th Congressional District alone and around 6,000 statewide. The mission of the organization, as expressed by Severide by his Silver Shirt recruiters, was disquieting. This wasn't a do-good service club like the Elks or the Shriners or the Kiwanis. This was a group of vigilantes, gearing up for quasi-religious violent crusade. Quote, one of the Silver Shirt leaders, a retired businessman, led me into his kitchen and opened his cupboards to show me the stocks of canned goods he had accumulated against the day of the communist uprising, when he expected to barricade himself in his upper duplex, Severide remembered. He raised a quivering finger and in a quavering voice informed me, if it be God's will that I fall as a martyr to the cause at the hands of these beasts, I shall die here in my Christian home, defending my dear wife to the end. They were quite mad. The fever dream waking these white Christians was fueled in large part by what Severide called secret society phobia. Admission to the Silver Shirts had put them inside a special circle of knowledge. The veil had been lifted from their eyes. These Twin City burghers suddenly found themselves part of the select few to whom the fearsome truth had been revealed. A dastardly conspiracy was at play in the United States. The conspirators had been identified: commies, Reds, Pinkos, otherwise known as international Jewry. They had infiltrated the highest levels of the American government. President Roosevelt's real name was Rosenfeld. The Silver Shirts in good standing were kept abreast of the current threat level thanks to the newsletter mailed to them weekly from the national headquarters of the Silver Legion, somewhere in North Carolina. Quote, well, we've known for a long time that the Jews are plotting to seize the United States government, one earnest and inflamed Silver Shirt told Severide. They want to run the whole world and tell us what to do. Just look at Russia. The Jews certainly got Russia, didn't they? Severide began sketching out what would become a 5-part series on the Silver Shirts, running early drafts up the flagpole to his editors. Quote, hate and fear bind the members together, Severide had written. Anti-Semitism is the outstanding feature of the Silver Shirts. Absurd as it may seem, to them, the First World War, the present war in Spain, from where the Jews were expelled in 1492, and all of the wars of the world were deliberately inspired by Jews. In the minds of the Silver Shirts, all Jews are communists and all communists are Jews. If one points out certain known communists are definitely Nordic, their answer is, well, he must have a Jewish mind. Severide had a good look at the anti-Semitic poison they were trafficking in and feared it was already spreading well beyond the membership. He knew the silver shirts in Minneapolis were passing around something called the Protocols of the Meetings of the Learned Elders of Zion, and handing out their already read copies of the weekly newsletter to uninitiated friends and neighbors, so they too would learn that the time might soon come when they would need to be courageous enough to treat the Jews, quote, drastically. The Silver Legion newsletter also offered the occasional vocabulary lesson. Pogrom, lest there be any among us unfamiliar with the word, is a wholesale slaughter of Jews merely because they are Jews. Arnold Severide took the silver shirts at their word, and he took them seriously. The hard-boiled city editor at the Minneapolis Journal, however, wasn't ready to buy the story at first, not from a wet-behind-the-ears cub reporter anyway. So he managed to get invited to a meeting of the Silver Shirts to check it out for himself. Severide was in the office when his editor returned from that conclave. Quote, "Get me a drink quick," the editor yelled. "God, I feel I've been through the most fantastic nightmare of my life." Although he no longer doubted the shocking details in Severide's rough drafts, he was still not convinced of the wisdom of publishing the story. A few local rabbis and prominent Jewish civic leaders counseled the editor to drop the entire enterprise. It would be painful to them, most undignified, and would merely drag out into the open and abet a virulent form of anti-Semitism, Severide remembered years later. They thought it, quote, better to ignore the madmen and pretend they didn't exist. The young reporter held his ground. The silver shirts, he insisted to the city editor, were a serious threat. Readers needed to understand just how dangerous these wild conspiracy theories were, and just how widespread. Severide wasn't looking to embarrass anybody. He wasn't even going to name names, except for one big one, the man who seemed to have seduced all these Midwestern bourgeois. I spent hair-raising evenings in the parlors of middle-class citizens who worshipped a man named William Dudley Pelley, Severide wrote. To his followers, supposedly 6,000 in Minnesota, Pelley is the coming savior for the nation. They believe he is the man to do what Hitler has done in Germany. William Dudley Pelley, like a slug, left behind him a visible mucoid trail by which we can still know him today. The story of his strange life and his prodigiously vicious political legacy are well recorded, both because of his own enthusiastic telling and thanks to the accounts of dozens of witnesses, informants, and documents that make up the 717-page dossier the Federal Bureau of Investigation accumulated on him in a 6-year period beginning in 1933. This much is indisputable. Where Lawrence Dennis, self-proclaimed intellectual godfather of American-style fascism, was at pains to mask his personal grievance behind a veneer of scholarly theorizing, Pelley was fearless about using his own compulsive resentments as a tool and a weapon. He sharpened them into something dangerous and lethal, and then manufactured it for mass consumption and for profit at the very moment when millions of Americans were looking for somebody to blame and to punish for the terrifying want and woe that had been visited on them in the Great Depression of the early 1930s. Pelley, born in 1890, had come of age like most Americans in his time, which is to say, clinging to the bottom rungs of the country's slippery economic ladder. He was raised in a deeply Methodist household in the stony hills of Massachusetts and Vermont, with a wealth of religious fervor and forced piety, and little else. He would later describe himself a perpetually hungry, shabbily dressed, and none too happy youngster who had to start his life labor at 14 years of age and stay with it thereafter. A wry, lonely, misunderstood childhood, cluttered up psychologically with the worst sort of New England inhibitions, revengeful that I had been denied social and academic advantages for which my hunger was instinctive. William Dudley Pelley did not cut a particularly remarkable figure in his adulthood. He did exhibit a flair for the dramatic in his clothing and in his close-trimmed Van Dyke beard, but that was about all that stood him apart as a physical presence. The description of Pelley in the FBI files is terse and to the point. 5'8", 150 pounds, dark brown hair turning gray, sallow complexion, good teeth, squint eyes, rimless nose glasses, octagon lenses, tendency to cock his head to one side when talking. Pelley did, however, have indisputable talents, which he recognized in himself and cultivated. He had been a voracious reader from childhood, and though by no means a literary stylist, he was a crack storyteller with an instinct for popular taste. Pelly published scores of well-circulated short stories in his 20s and 30s, including one that shared the second annual O. Henry Memorial Award with F. Scott Fitzgerald and a dozen other writers. Beginning in 1917, Pelly threw himself into the emerging American medium, the cinema, adapting his own stories or writing original scenarios and screenplays. He penned vehicles for early movie stars such as Lon Chaney, The Shock, Tom Mix, Ladies to Board, Hoot Gibson, The Sawdust Trail, and Mary Astor, The Sunset Derby. Pelly got big eyes living among what he called the flesh pots in Hollywood. But his dream of becoming a publishing magnate like Richard Simon or Max Schuster, or a movie mogul like Louis B. Mayer or Samuel Goldwyn or Harry Kahn, never panned out. He remained a cog in both those industries all through the 1920s, with unfulfilling sidelights in restaurants and real estate. A quarter century into his life labor, Pelly was, by his own admission, a surly young man spoiling for a fight. It made me a lone wolf at life, getting the least bit mangy as I reached my 40s. The media maven wannabe did finally hit a promising vein of commerce around 1930, a combination of charismatic Christianity and the occult. On 3 separate occasions, he claimed, he had received urgent messages from the world beyond. In the first instance, while alone in a cabin in Altadena, California, he had a near-death experience, the highlight of which was a brief interlude in the afterlife. He described the scene in cinematic detail in 7 Minutes in Eternity, which was published as the lead story in the March 1929 issue of The American Magazine, which boasted a readership of 2.2 million. Quote, a sort of marble-tiled and furnished portico the place was, lighted by that soft, unseen opal illumination, with a clear as crystal Roman pool diagonally across from my bench. Out beyond the portico, everything appeared to exist in a sort of turquoise haze. Pelly said his second spectral visitation happened while he was at home in California, reading an essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I had a queer moment of confusion, a sort of cerebral vertigo, Pelly wrote, then a strange physical sensation at the very top of my head, as though a beam of pure white light had poured down from above and bored a shaft straight through my skull. In that instant, a vast weight went out of my whole physical ensemble. The third and most dramatic visitation came when Pelly was alone in a railroad car, reading Emerson again, somewhere in New Mexico, as his train clicked monotonously eastward. Eastward, he wrote. Suddenly, as I turned a page, something happened. I seemed to be bathed in a douche of pure white light on that moving Pullman. A great flood of revelation came to me, out of which a voice spoke such as I had never heard before. What it said I prefer to keep permanently to myself, but I knew of the reality of that entity whom the world now designates as Jesus of Nazareth. I knew that he was not a mythical religious ideal. I knew his ministry and career had been a literal actuality, and that I had once seen him when he was thus in his flesh. In Pelly's telling, which he retailed to millions of paying readers across America, he emerged from his 3 otherworldly experiences as a man reborn in myriad ways. He no longer required alcohol, tobacco, or caffeine to get him through the day. Was no longer plagued by nervous indigestion or any of his other daily physical ailments. His spine straightened, his shoulders broadened, his waist grew thin while his chest and biceps swelled, all without benefit of exercise. He was lighter, friendlier, easier in his skin, easier in the world, because he was now in possession of the answers to the mystery of life. Quote, the day is coming, the evolution of the race, when spirituality is going to be the whole essence of life instead of the world's present materialism, he explained to those 2.2 million readers in the American Magazine. A wholly different universe that seems filled with naught but love, harmony, good humor, and prosperity. Pelly got letters from readers by the hundreds. A clean-cut cross-section of Americans and Englishmen, he wrote, from railroad and bank presidents, from stenographers and streetcar conductors, from octogenarians and boys and girls in high schools and colleges, men and women being equally represented, and Protestant ministers, most eager of all to lead their flocks into a clearer understanding of the eternal verities. But Pelly sensed that the story needed an even more dramatic twist, so he cooked one up. The visitations, he began to insist, had changed him in one other fundamental way that he hadn't previously mentioned. He had become a human radio receiver, able to, quote, tune in on the minds and voices of those in another dimension of being. He would sit for hours, he claimed, 3 or 4 times each week, furiously taking dictation from the learned souls of the fourth dimension. I have in some cases taken down 10,000-word lectures on abstruse aspects of science, physics, cosmology, and metallurgy, Pelly wrote. I have taken down a 400-page book on political economy so advanced in context and knowledge that it has surprised authorities on the subject who have perused portions of it. Pelly's first big effort to monetize his new one, occult knowledge, was in the summer of 1932, when he and a handful of acolytes moved to Asheville, North Carolina, and started Galahad College, where students could buy and read the various textbooks on science, physics, cosmology, metallurgy, and political economy Pelly had dictated from those learned souls of the fourth dimension. Galahad appeared at the outset a promising venture, at least to folks in Asheville, which, like every other town in America in the 1930s, needed a jolt to the local economy. Pelly was establishing an institute of higher learning and a publishing house, both of which were paying office rent and creating jobs for the locals. An officer in the Asheville Chamber of Commerce invited Pelly to speak to the Kiwanis Club. Pelly's topic was to be the foundation for Christian economics, but he veered off into a discussion of the awesome power of solar rays and a warning to the weirded out Kiwanis that an apocalyptic eclipse might be in the offing. One Asheville businessman got an earful he wouldn't soon forget from Pelly's right-hand man, Robert Somerville. It seems, and I also recall again from Mr. Somerville, that both he and Mr. Pelly were the reincarnation of souls who had lived thousands, if not millions, of years ago upon the earth, the man later told an FBI investigator. Pelly and Somerville also seemed to think they knew a good deal about the Great Pyramids in Egypt. Somerville, the local man said, explained to me how the scientists had discovered the interior vaults of the Great Pyramid contained marks which corresponded to what he termed great tribulations or crises in world history. This began with the exodus of Jews from Egypt and had such dates as the fall of Babylon, Rome, and the World War. There were marks from the year of 1931, which Mr. Somerville said was the Depression, and which would end accordingly in the Great Pyramid on September 16, 1936. Mr. Pelly is a very intense personality. He strikes me as having a great deal of the poseur in his makeup. Galahad College foundered in a flash. The first class was a small cohort. Textbook sales didn't cover costs, and half the students bailed before the summer session of 1932 was complete. Pelly's foundation for Christian economics and his publishing house both neared bankruptcy. And he was soon skipping rent payments to his landlords at the Women's Club building in Asheville. Pelly appeared destined to take his place in America's long line of failed and forgotten pseudo-religious charlatans, until in 1933 he hooked his Buy My Psychic Claptrap scheme onto the most rapidly ascendant and dynamic political movement in the world. William Dudley Pelly was able to do this, he claimed, because he knew it was coming. Start date of this new epoch in history and politics had been revealed to him 4 years earlier, he said, back in 1929, by his ethereal interlocutors, or the hieroglyphics on the interior wall of the pyramids, or Jesus of Nazareth himself. Pelly never practiced strict consistency in his storytelling. An anonymous writer for Pelly's new weekly magazine, like Pelly himself, concocted the story that he had been preparing for this day in secret since 1929, during which time he had perfected a great national organization, drawing people of importance from the highest walks of life, people whose names have never been published and may never become known. On January 31, this is all a quote, the date that Hitler came into power in Germany, Pelly came out from under cover with his Silver Shirts National Organization. Having planted depots throughout the entire United States, enlightened police and vigilante groups secured the cooperation of outraged Christian citizens. His organization of Silver Shirts is now snowballing exactly as Hitler's Nazis snowballed in Germany when at last the German people were persuaded to the truth. End quote. Pelly believed Hitlerite fascism could be replicated in America for one simple reason. Unlike Pelly's failed spiritual movement, this new political juggernaut was fueled by the most powerful of human emotions. Love and harmony were nice and all, but for pure motive force, hate trumps. His weekly The Silver Legion Ranger provided readers with somebody to hate, the Jews, who were busy planning world domination. Their plot, according to the Ranger, was vast and ambitious. For Pelly, the Jews had a unified and secret global plan to corrupt youth through subversive teaching, destroy family life, dominate people through their vices, abase art and corrupt literature, undermine the respect for religion, ruin the nervous system through inoculations and various poisons and germs of disease. Wow, how is all of this reflective of what is happening today? Let's read that again. A unified and secret global plan to corrupt you through subversive teaching. That would be the cry of indoctrination in our nation's universities. Okay, check. Dominate people through their vices. That is anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, because they think those are vices. They're not. And they're saying sex. Yeah, dominate people through sex. And I mean sex, not gender, sex. And all that comes with it. Abase art and corrupt literature. Book banning. Trad. School boards. Yeah. Undermine the respect for religion. Well, that I think is making religion, like, I think in these days we're forcing religion, or Christian nationalism is using religion as a tool, opiate of the people, all that kind of stuff. Ruin the nervous system through inoculations and various poisons. Well, those are our little anti-vax people, and then the pandemic people would be reflected in the and germs of disease. The heresies do that pretty well. Oh no. Yes, using and undermining. Right, exactly. Poison the relations between masters and men through strikes and lockout. So that's anti-union. Let industry exhaust agriculture and gradually transform industry in wild speculation. Well, I mean, that I feel like we have propped up our agriculture in ways that is not this is not right. I don't know. There's a lot. That's almost the whole show. Grant universal suffrage so that the destiny of each country is entrusted to the men who lack culture and breeding. So that's voting rights. Don't anti-voting rights. Organize vast monopolies in which all private fortunes will be engulfed. Well, that is they're scared of communism, but this digital currency thing. The reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason that Trump and Vivek and all those guys are saying, no centralized digital currency, is because they want all the private currency to be Bitcoin. They want to tank the dollar. They don't want any state sponsored currency. Or, yeah. That's my hot take for tonight before you go to sleep. Destroy all financial stability, multiply economic crises. Would that be like Peter Thiel taking out all of his money from Silicon Valley Bank less than 48 hours before they have a run? Maybe. Stop the wheels of industry, make stocks and shares crash. Well, that's what he was trying to do tonight when he was talking about the stock market and the fact that he said he wants it to crash Trump said he wants it to crash before November, which is great. Concentrate all gold in the world into certain hands, and finally exhaust humanity through excessive suffering, anguish, and deprivations. For hunger breeds slaves. Yeah, well, some of this is projection, and some of it is, yikes. I don't like how close this book is to our current situation. It sounds insane because it is, but an equally insane number of Americans in the 1930s signed right up for it. Pele put out the call for Christian soldiers to fight the Jewish menace. Anybody 18 or older, of reasonably sound health, and not afraid to risk your life and limb for your country, and enlisted more than 15,000 people post haste. 15,000. After taking the official silver shirt oath of consecration and paying dues, new members got a weekly mailing of the Silver Legion Ranger, and as Pele promised, the shirt of silver with the great scarlet L emblazoned on your banner and over your heart, standing for love, loyalty, and liberation. Duly initiated members were instructed to keep their arms and be ready to bear them. Pele, meanwhile, watched with solipsistic interest as Hitler drew all power in Germany to himself in the next few years. Read Hitler's autobiography, Pele would tell his closest aides, and then compare it with my life and note the similarities between us. Pele announced for the presidency of the United States in 1936, of course, and his candidacy was predictably muddle-headed. There was a lot of talk about protecting the U.S. Constitution, though basically all his policy proposals were blatant violations of this document. The chief executive would be given dictatorial powers. Oh my God, this is project I can't. The United States would become a corporation, and every white Christian citizen would be both a common and a preferred stockholder. In place of capitalism, Pele proposed a new economic system in which both supply and demand would be strictly and perfectly controlled by government officials. The whole of the plan, Pele said, is too big and too dynamic to describe. Who wanted to get down in those weeds? What mattered was that Pele, the savior, was going to be in charge, and he was going to rid America of the Jewish, Bolshevist communists. Pele had a lot of make-believe facts and figures at hand to make his case. By his math, a clear majority of President Roosevelt's brain trust were Jews, or Gentile fronts for Jews, whatever that might mean. Roosevelt himself, Pele said, was also secretly Jewish. Pele knew this, he said, because the Silver Legion had taken the time to investigate the Roosevelt family tree. They traced it right back to the Jewish Roscampo family, which was expelled from Spain and settled in Holland. President Roosevelt had already allowed the Jews to secretly take control of the United States. Quote, "This is our country, founded in certain inalienable rights and consecrated to the perpetuation of definite Christian ideals and customs of living. We propose without further ado, without equivocation, without any silly sentimentality, sometimes known as tolerance, to emasculate the debauchers within the social body and reestablish America on a basis where spoliation can never again be repeated," Pele said. "If you are a weakling or given to compromise, sentimentality, docile acquiescence to intimidation, and non-entity in general, You are not wanted. Are you with us? Will you aid in helping actualize the true democracy of Jesus the Christ right here in these tortured United States? Pelly's bizarre campaign must have been quite a thing to witness. The candidate himself was always armed, decked out in a Sam Brown crossbody ammunition belt and military regalia, and surrounded by a squadron of bodyguards that would have made Huey Long blush. Some of his campaign rallies numbered in the thousands, with the members of his Silver Shirts Christian militia standing at attention, flanking their dear leader. The men were uniformed in their namesake silver shirts with the red silk L over the left breast, blue four-in-hand neckties with their membership numbers stitched on, blue corduroy trousers and puttees. The entire ensemble could be acquired for a $6 payment to the Silver Legion. If you were looking for a signature silver shirt fetish, it was probably hierarchy and rank. Below Pelly himself, who liked to be called chief, the Silver Shirts had commanders, chamberlains, quartermasters, sheriffs, censors, adjutants, pursers, bailiffs, marshals, advocates, scribes, and almoners, and a partridge in a pear tree. One hot July night at the Deutsches House in Los Angeles, a special cadre of silver shirts and members of the West Coast German-American Bund stood at attention while one of Pelly's lieutenants warmed up the crowd. According to a report in Pelly's Weekly, the Silver Shirter screamed, "I have but one criticism to make about Adolf Hitler. In cleaning the Jews out of Germany, he sent too many of them over here." Pelly thus took stage at Deutsches Haus, and for fully 2 minutes, one of the attendees reported, he strutted around in silence like a vain peacock. When Pelly finally did speak, he bashed the Moscow-controlled and the Jew-infested Roosevelt administration, as well as the Republican nominee for president. It doesn't matter who you vote for in 1936 because both candidates are controlled by Jews. Quit nationalism, climate. You never could be a nationalist. You couldn't be one. Do you get a sash? No. Oh, you got an L. That's right. You're a loser. No. It doesn't matter who you vote for in 1936. Oh, that's right. But by the grace of God, I am going to stop that. By the grace of God, I will march up the steps at Washington and show them that this is still a Christian nation. The Deutsches Haus audience, Deutsche Haus audience, according to the witness on the scene, stamped the floor and just about took the roof down. You probably won't believe this story was the lead on Arnold Severide's Silver Shirt series, which debuted in the Minneapolis Journal, front page, above the fold, on September 11th, 1936. The young reporter couldn't have asked for better placement, but the articles were edited in such a way that they didn't land the punch he had hoped. Not as I'd want them written, as a cry of alarm, he would later say, but as a semi-humorous expose of the ridiculous crackpots. Ridiculous, ludicrous, preposterous. The editors had peppered these signifiers of silver shirt fecklessness and absurdity throughout Severide's 6-part series. The third day story had a corker, drawn right from the pages of Pelly's Weekly. Quote, "The pyramids of Giza have forecast dark events for September 16th. In the walls of the pyramid are graven the symbols which foretell the epochal doings of that day. It can mean nothing else than the seizure of the world by the Jews, a seizure that has been planned since Solomon's time." This world takeover would not pass by Minneapolis, not according to Pelly's acolytes. The Jews, quote, "are going to start through Kenwood and sweep eastward around the lakes and thence across the city," one of the Silver Shirts had explained to Severide. "Yes, sir. September 16th is the day. You want to watch out. We've all got orders to stay home and away from windows." September 16th, which happened to be the day Severide's series ended, passed without incident, but the letdown did not diminish the apocalyptic ardor of Pelly's followers in Minneapolis or elsewhere. They still had their canned goods tucked in their pantries and their small arms near at hand. Neither did it diminish the fear and hatred among the Twin Cities silver shirts, much of which was now turned against young Arnold Severide. The really disheartening thing to Severide was that his series seemed to increase the number of locals who sympathized with Pelly's adherents. Odd characters, fuming and bridling, would march to my desk in the city room and demand to know whether I was a Christian or a Bolshevik, he wrote of the aftermath. Lifelong subscribers would lecture me over the telephone, and when I lost patience and lectured them back, they would call the publisher, and I, to my disgust and amazement, would then be lectured by my bosses for being rude to a client. I sat in the balcony of the biggest Baptist church and listened to the influential pastor denounce me as a red. Severide received so many threats of physical violence by telephone and by letter that his brothers showed up at his apartment with their guns and offered to provide protection. Severide waved them off, explaining that these blusterers talked a big game, but were too chicken-hearted to make a real attack. Here is one time when Severide might have underestimated the ugly truth of America's committed fascists. His window into the movement was a small one, confined mostly to those middle-class silver-shirt homes dotting the Twin Cities, where Pelly's Weekly and the Silver Legion Ranger sat comfortably next to the King James Bible and Reader's Digest and the latest catalog from Sears. Arnold Severide did not know, as a Seattle gun dealer explained in an FBI field office report dated September 17, 1936, that the silver-shirt field marshal, Roy Zachary, had called upon him and offered to buy large quantities of ammunition, 30.06, 30-40, 38 super automatic, 45 automatic, and many other kinds. Forgive me for not knowing my ammunition names. It is alleged that Zachary wanted 15,000 rounds of automatic ammunition. He also desired to buy high-caliber rifles in large quantities, claiming he has permits from the local police department for all the sidearms which he can buy. Zachary wanted the gun dealer to go to Tacoma and appraise and inventory the stock of the Kimball Company, a bankrupt dealer, who has a supply of arms and ammunition, Zachary stating that he had the cash to buy all the arms and ammunition he can get. It is also alleged that Zachary had a permit with the signature of Police Chief William H. Sears and admitted that the guns were to be used by Pelly's private fascist army in an immense program being planned by the combined forces of the Black Legion, the James True Associates, and the Silver Shirts. Neither did Severide know that this man, called James True, was telling fellow fascists that the day of pogrom was approaching, that Father Coughlin will soon let loose on the Jews, and that they should all be preparing. Neither did Severide know that this James True had recently filed an application at the U.S. Patent Office for a new weapon ready for mass production, one he called and I will not say the slur, but it starts with a K, and it's a slur against Jewish people, and it's that word plus killer. So, and that, let me see. 8's kind of long, so I'm gonna not do 8 tonight because I kept you up. I gossiped in the beginning. I gossiped. Yeah, zing. Oh, I didn't even give you the fire. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm the worst. Oh my God, you had to look at my stupid avatar the whole time. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Sorry, everyone. I feel terrible. This was the fire I had for you. Dang it. Dang it. Yeah, I'm really loving this book. I think this is an excellent book. Take myself out. I really am enjoying it very much so. really glad. And thanks for coming tonight. I am sorry I gossiped in the beginning. I really want these sessions to be pretty relaxing. I'm trying to keep them a little more chill. So thank you for indulging me. I should check and see what's going on this week. I haven't even looked at the schedules. Anybody know? Like, is there? Wait, let me do the master calendar. Master calendar of Trump dates. Let's see. Does anybody know if Trump filed a appeal to the Maine decision to keep him off the ballot? That was due to yesterday. Carol, Trump potentially to testify. Okay. All right, so there's nothing happening in Georgia this week. Oh, there is. Thursday. Thursday. There's a Jeffrey Clark hearing on Thursday. Let me see, do I have that? All right. So there's Thursday. Sweet. Boxer boy Clark. No, you'll know who I'm talking about. Boxer boy moves. Jeffrey Clark. Here's the joke. Jeffrey Clark in court. Hope he wears pants. Let's see. What time is it at? It's at, oh shit, I just fucked up. At 2 p.m., which means that's 11 a.m. I'm going to go 10:45. Now we need to see if I have a picture of Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey. Might be Boxer Boy. I knew I have a picture of him in his underwear. Where's the picture of Jeffrey? Can't find a picture of him in his underwear. Can't find a picture of him in his underwear. Oh, well, this is a good one. Wait, I need to. I want to size. How? Oh, I see. I'd size it this way. Okay, so that's that. All right, so Thursday. Let's see. What have we got? What are we doing? What are we doing? Hey, now what are we doing? Let's see. Come on, kitten. All right. So let's see. So far, I don't have anything scheduled for tomorrow, but that might change. Depends on what happens in the news. So don't count me out yet. I'll definitely do some chapters tomorrow night. And I don't, at this point, have anything scheduled for Tuesday. But again, if the news changes, I'll put up something. Wednesday, Wednesday, unless preempted by other news, we're going to do a hot tub time machine and do the Pennsylvania state legislature a year or 4 years ago. Let's see. Then on Thursday, Boxer boy Jeffrey Clark is in Georgia, so we'll watch him get humiliated, hopefully. And then I don't know what else. I will do a lounge on Friday with trivia, and I'll do more. I'll probably do chapters every night this week, I think, except for Friday night. So that, and then, oh, supposedly they're having that convoy at the border, you know, the convoy at the border kind of thing, on, I think they leave the 29th or something. Anyway, so I will monitor that, and if it's interesting and we want to watch it, then we'll watch it. If it's not interesting and we don't want to watch it, we won't watch it. Because we do what we want. Nobody tells us what to do. Right? Right. You are my lucky star. Oh, it's time to go to sleep. I hope you get some rest. I'll see you when I see you. I hope you know I love you best. All right, my darlings. I love you. Take care of yourself. And be good to each other. And vote. Of course. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. And again, I'll be much more in ready mode tomorrow and we won't be quite so chatty. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. All right. Good night.